Okay, everybody, welcome to part 2. As promised, I thought we'd get into some of the loadouts and some of the customs that I've done in a little bit more detail. And so starting off, this is my Tiger Force team. Now, in part 1, I showed you the Tiger Force team, but I wasn't as entirely satisfied. I wanted to do some more custom work, and I wanted to sort of make them even more uniform. So what I did was I took all of the stalker figures and I dyed their boots black in the RIT dye. So everybody has these black boots, because back in my day, again, I don't want to always sound like that, back in my day, but you know, we had black boots, and so then everybody has matching fatigues. And then I took the grunt Kevlar vest, I RIT dyed them all black and sort of made them all uniform. And the nice thing about it is the RIT dye does not affect like the name badging and the flags. So everything, some of the things that were painted on it, the parts that were not brown, they continue to be green. So everything comes out really nicely. And then the other thing I did was, you're gonna see, oh, by the way, there's a stalker figure. It's many of the same people. Like there's a Dusty, and I'm gonna show you how I RIT dyed Dusty to make him look like a different character. And then we've got Flint, we've got a Grunt, and we've got even a Duke. But there is the first, that is how I loaded out my Tiger Force team. I really like the uniform appearance of it. Everybody's got a saw, so that's some serious heavy firepower that they have. But I wanted to kind of make them look uniform, and I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it. So again, I RIT dyed all of the boots and Kevlar, and then I tried to match the accessories a little bit more, and I really like the cohesiveness of the Tiger Force team. And then up here, I did some more work on my Navy team, and I made their loadouts pretty much all the same. So here we go. Everybody's got an M16, looks like maybe like an A2, maybe an A1, M16A1. And they've got just a standard issue flak helmet on, as we used to have, if ever you were familiar with that. And I also RIT dyed some of their skin tones. So back there's a much darker shipwreck, and then up here's a regular shipwreck. So I don't know if you can tell, but the skin tones are very, very different. And then here is a stalker, and this figure is very dark. I RIT dyed him much darker, and he has that really nice sort of variation from the other sailors. So I do have a black sailor in the mix. I've got sort of a Latino sailor. I've got some other guys. I've even got the rock and roll back there. So I've tried to make them uniform but different, and I really like the way this looks. I think the sailors just look really, really cool when they're sort of loaded out. Everybody has a standard sidearm. Shipwreck, of course, has poly, and I just sort of made his own grappling hook a little bit different. And then moving up here, I wanted to show you. So this is, I'm going to add a few more members to this team, but this team is my anti-poaching unit. So I'm going to really enjoy Naugahyde when I finally track him down. And Naugahyde and some of the other Dreadnoks are going to have like a poaching team. And I always kind of thought that Cobra might use the Dreadnoks and Naugahyde to round up some of their creatures for their experimentation, Naugahyde being a big part of that. And so I put together this Joe team that really sort of specializes in tracking that operation down. And so here is Dusty. This here, I RIT dyed his skin. I wanted this team to look like they spent a lot of time in the, you know, in the bush of Africa, the Serengeti, those things. So everybody has custom dyed skin. Now, here's a great example. So here is Recondo, Recondo is always one of my favorites. So that's his RIT dyed skin, and that is his standard factory skin. So you can really see the difference there. He's much more alive looking, you know, and so everybody has the standard loadout here. Everybody has the shoulder-mounted service weapon. And then this is that really, really dark-skinned stalker. But I have made a new character name, but maybe we could I'd like to rename him. And so let's rename him. Come up with a good name, and you guys can get credit for naming him. And then there's a standard grunt, but this grunt has been RIT dyed as well. And just to give sort of that sun-baked appearance. But let's show you a Dusty. So let's take Dusty down here, and we'll put him next to this Dusty. And you can see, hopefully, there's major difference in the skin tone, and he looks a lot different. So that RIT dye, that's about maybe 10 or 12 seconds in the RIT dye. Not very long, but just enough to really make a big difference. So again, I talk all the time about the RIT dyes, but it just makes so much variation, right? So there's my anti-poaching unit, and I'm gonna put a few more members together, and I'd like to kind of stick with the Desert Dusty. I think that's gonna be my standard anti-poaching unit team member. I've got a couple of standouts here, and of course he's the leader of the operation. But and of course Roadblock, I kind of like this Roadblock. These are actually weapons. This one here and that one there actually come from the Fortnite line, but I really liked the way, I thought I just sort of powdered them and repainted them a little bit, weathered them, and I think they kind of have that anti-poaching unit look to them, you know. And then up here, so here is another team, and I just call this the Go team. So everybody, more or less, they're in just green fatigues. Now I do have that custom rock and roll that we talked about. Everybody's got a pretty standard loadout there. It looks pretty much the same. And as you can see, everybody's got the standard Stalker beret. That's actually Finn from Star Wars, and he made a great custom. I really like sort of the generalized look of him. And again, I took that Finn and I RIT dyed him to a much darker skin color. But I also have some other Finn heads that are much lighter. So, and there's a standard untouched skin. And then here is, right next to him is the same figure head, and he's much darker looking to give a different appearance. So hopefully you can see what I'm trying to do here with the variations. And then of course up here, we do have the badass bitches, and we've already seen those. But I did add one custom to the mix. Oh, hold on. Oh, I'm getting bumped by freedom here. There's this new one here. So I took one and I RIT dyed it a little bit darker. And you can see there's like Latina skin, there's a much darker, almost Indian skin, Asian skin. You know, so I just keep sort of coming up with different dye colors and making different skin tones, which, you know me, I like to have that variation. So again, here's just another rundown of the loadouts, some more customs that I've done, and different teams. So again, let's maybe throw it out to there. Let's see if somebody can name this guy, sort of like the leader of the anti-poaching unit. I was thinking something along like the lines of one of those classic Zimbabwe or Nigerian names, like Douglas Mbwamba, you know, one of those types of names, but maybe come up with a code name for him or something. So anyways, part 2, as promised. I've spent a lot of time customizing over the last 3 days since I posted last, and I hope you like the results. The standardizing of the different teams, I think, was to their benefit. And again, it just takes a few hours, some RIT dye, and then just enough to kind of kit bash everything together to make them cohesive. But I really like the look. I have one more of these Tiger Force members that I'm working on right now, and I will add them as soon as he's done. But anyways, thanks as always for looking. Stay tuned. Let me know what you think of some of these teams, some of the loadouts, the customs that I've done, and I look forward to hearing from it. Thank you so much.